Octoberpod. Everybody. It is 1:38 a.m. Good morning. This is Ed October. Are you afraid of the ocean's depths? Not you. You never swam far out into the ocean, as far as you dare, so deep that your feet couldn't possibly touch the bottom, and wondered what hungry, many-tentacled monsters might be lurking there, down in the black void, where even the sunlight doesn't penetrate, where even the fishes that navigate its inky depths have grown so accustomed to the primordial darkness that they've become completely blind. This morning's entertainment is from the pen of Broken Pieces Podcast's master of the uncanny, Walter Kane. We recommend that you listen with your lights doused. But first, a word from our friends. The Search for Alice by Amy Cotto. Read the dark fantasy retelling of Alice in Wonderland, where nothing is as it seems. Think Once Upon a Time meets The Vampire Diaries. When Callie Bennett, a jaded teenage girl plagued by her alcoholic mother and her peers who were molded out of sheer bubblegum perfection, chases after Alice herself, she ends up lost in her own private wonderland, where she's forced to face her utmost fears. There she meets Chess, a gorgeous vampire with a conflicted conscience. Will he be merely her guide or her lover? And Queen Hartley, a witch with the power to strip away memory and imagination. Off with their heads indeed. Can she defeat Queen Hartley and return home before it's too late? Or will she be unable to leave Chess behind forever? Ready to chase after the unknown? The Search for Alice by Amy Cotto. Available now on Amazon. The small junk ship is long and narrow, with two masts, one behind the other. The faded red skin of each boned sail is unfolded like a fan. There's only a slight breeze, and the ship ghosts slowly forward. Water sloshes back and forth across the wooden deck. Ping leans against the front mast of the junk, head down, focused on his damp-woven sandals. After some time, he feels a warmth slowly begin to settle through his wet shirt, into his shoulders, through the spiked fist of his graying hair into his scalp. The sad thoughts whispering at the edge of his mind are forgotten. He pushes back from the mast and looks upwards. The white eye of the sun is open again. The crashing boulder clouds are gone, melting away into soft white threads. Ping smiles and lets out a little laugh. There's a calm mist ahead. Behind the mist, merging like a mirage, is the dock. Busy people move back and forth. Women in shawls, men in jackets, children in shorts. Piles of fruit. Pyramids of unloaded cargo. Fishing nets of many colors, dry and held, waiting patiently. And behind it all, Gwei's bright, green storehouse Kumbar. Ping follows the buoys and brings the boat in. Ping stands on the docks, facing Gwei. The junk ship rests behind him in the dock. You look older every time I see you, Ping. I am older, asshole. So are you. Ping smiles and punches Gwei in the arm. Gwei laughs. Not as much as you, I think. Rough crossing? Not really. The same as always. I think I'm just tired. Gwei looks at him with a mixture of admiration and concern. Then he smiles and takes on a comedic voice, a parody of priests and politicians. There are very few men out there capable of doing the things that you have done, Captain Ping. We salute you. Gwei knocks his hand up against his brow in mock salute. Ping smiles. He turns and climbs back into the ship and disappears down below the deck. Gwei stands stock still and waits, staring out into the water. Ping returns, carrying a splintery little wooden crate. Here it is. Gwei's face smiles warmly as he takes the small crate from Ping. They move across the dock together towards Gwei's storehouse. Gwei places the wood box on top of a pile of various other crates and packages. Each is a different size and shape. Ping gestures to the pile and pulls a phony, quizzical face. So what was in the box this time, Mr. Gwei? Human head? Gwei laughs at the familiar mechanics of this old joke. Well, seeing as this was your second last voyage, I guess I'd better tell you. Gwei pauses dramatically. Ping smiles amusedly, expecting a quip. As the pause continues, his smile falters slightly, and his eyebrows raise. All the boxes are empty, Ping. Ping rolls his eyes and sighs in fake disappointment, and then grins. I knew it. Well, I've always had my suspicions, Gwei. Wiry men move about the pair, coming in and out, unloading cargo from the boat. They strain and stretch as they lift boxes and haul sacks from the junk. You sail again at midnight, Captain Ping. Come on, you old stinky dog. Let's get you a wash and some rice wine. We have some new girls in. Who knows? Maybe you'll even have a time for a screw. Knowing you, you'll probably have time for several. Ping watches as the last box is placed onto the junk. The dock and boat and sea are a black and light blue monochrome, apart from the dull mustard of small oil lamps. Gwei and Ping stumble from the storehouse bar out toward the boat. The buzz of alcohol masks the chill air. Well, Mr. Gwei, where is it? Where's what, Mr. Ping? The final package. My final delivery. Oh, yes. That. Pretending he had forgotten, Gwei reaches inside the folds of his clothes and produces a long blue rectangle with a gold lock. Gwei grins and holds out the small blue box. And here it is, the final package the great Ping will ever have to deliver. Or so he claims. Are you sure I can't tempt you to come out one more voyage? The money's good, Captain Ping. Ping takes the box with both hands in mock ceremony. Sorry, but I must decline, Mr. Gwei. I've spent enough time fulfilling the dreams of others. Now it's time to make some of my own. Money isn't everything, Gwei. I'm no greedy scoundrel like you. Just a regular scoundrel. They laugh and groan, at once tired of and enjoying the worn paths of conversation. Oh, this looks like a special one, Gwei. Just make sure it gets to our man on the other side. Don't worry, Gwei. I won't fall at the final hurdle. Ping looks at the dock and the shore and the life beyond and takes in a bracing suck of air. Well, time to go. They squeeze each other in a robust embrace. Ping turns and begins to march toward the ship. His 3 new crewmen stand ready on the deck, their emerald eyes gleaming in the moonlight. From over his shoulder, he hears Gwei shout, "See you soon, old friend." Ping exits his small room below deck and climbs up to the deck. The dawn is sharp and bright. He stands and stares out at the thin blue horizon, his pulse thudding behind his forehead. His mouth is dry. He raises his hand to his head and takes in a gasp of salty air. "You okay, boss?" The voice comes from behind him, from the aft of the ship. Ping turns. The man is tall, broad in the shoulders and narrow at the waist, with thin legs. His stubbled chin is square and his eyes are green jade. Next to him, a man in similar clothes sits head down, unknotting a large rope. Ping watches as the first man advances up the length of the ship. Yes, I'm fine. How was last night? No problems, boss. If this wind keeps up, we'll arrive ahead of schedule. Let's hope so. They stand side by side and look at the water for a while. What's your name again, crewman? Ren's the name, sir. Where's the other man? D? He's sleeping. Shall I wake him? Yes, wake him, please. Ren disappears down below deck, past Ping's quarters and into the dark. Ping blinks hard and takes in another breath. He moves down the ship toward the sitting man. The man's legs are crossed with his feet folded under him, as if he is stooped in prayer. His head is down. He is concentrating on the knots. As he approaches, the man looks up. Peering down at him, Ping blinks hard in an attempt to focus his eyes again. The man has a near identical face to Ren, with the same green eyes. Ping moves back a step, trying to remember the shadowed faces from last night. Good morning, crewman. You must be brothers. Good morning. The man unties his legs and dusts himself down. He stands and nods at Ping. I'm sorry, crewman. I don't recall your name. The man nods again and casually picks up Ping's left hand and brings it towards him as if it were a possession of his. Too startled to resist, Ping stares at him. Holding Ping's left hand in his right, the man uses his index finger to trace the character of his name onto Ping's palm. Tian. Sailor, you're mute? The man nods and releases Ping's hand. The hand drops. A voice sounds from the fore of the ship. Everything okay back there, boss? Ping turns to the front of the ship. Ren is standing on the bow, with another identical man standing next to him. Seeing the look of concern on Ping's face, Ren jogs down towards him. He makes a gesture with his hand towards the man standing next to Ping. Did you need something from Tian? Ping blinks long and hard and rubs his brow. There's a reason for all this floating somewhere lost in the swamp of his brain. Crewman, remind me again. The man wipes his palm on his chest. Sorry, boss. I'm Ren. I can speak. This is Tian. And down there, that's D. They're mutes, but they can hear you and take orders no problem. I can talk to them with sign language if you need to have conversations with them. They're both formidable seamen, boss. Most captains end up preferring them to me in the end. Ren nods and smiles, hoping his joke will land in the way it was meant. And you are twins? Triplets? Most people think that, but like I said last, but we're actually brothers, born about a year apart. Ping yawns and shakes his head in a jerking motion, his mind exhausted from the volley of once-known information. Right. Fine. Okay, Ren. I'm sure they're fine seamen. I don't suppose any of you can cook? Ren grins and lifts his hands high and signs something to D, who is staring down at the ship again. D signs back and disappears below deck. The air is stale and dead. The sails slack and lifeless. The boat drifts aimlessly. Ping sits on a stool on the bridge. He's carving a piece of wood with a small knife. The shoulders and head of a man is emerging from the top of the piece of wood, the beginning of a figurine. There is silence apart from the gentle lapping of the bored ocean and an occasional crunching sound. D and Tian sit cross-legged at the opposite ends of the boat, silently arguing. Ren sits with his legs hanging over the side of the ship, holding onto a taut rope with one hand for balance. He holds a sickly-looking apple in his loose hand. He stares down at his swinging feet. The apple crunches as he takes another bite. Ping looks down at the unfinished sculpture in concentration. Ren? Ren looks over his shoulder toward him. He swings his legs back inside the perimeter of the vessel and hops down to his feet. He walks up to Ping. Pull up a chair, Ren. Ren finds another stool and drags it up next to Ping, whose eyes remain fixed on the emerging figure. How are you, boss? Pretty good. You? Okay. Bored, I guess. All this slack's a bit annoying, eh? Ping's hand shudders as he forces the blade against the wood. Yes, it sure is. What's that you're carving, boss? Ping stops and looks down at the piece of wood. I'm not sure yet. They just sort of find their way out. Yeah, like the David, right? The Italian statue of the David? Ping looks up at him in surprise. Yes, I suppose. You're pretty well informed for a seaman. Ren laughs. Yeah, me and the other two went to a pretty good school. Our family were big on education. Ping looks at him with amused suspicion. That's an unusual background for a seaman, Mr. Ren. Ren laughs. Yeah, they were pretty disgusted when we all went to sea. Why did you? Become sailors, I mean. Ren lowers his voice a little. Well, to be honest, it was mostly my decision. Those two just tend to follow my lead. Ren raises his eyebrows playfully. Ping straightens his back and looks at the young man with a frown. Isn't there something you'd rather be doing? Of course. I'd rather be back on shore with a bottle of rice wine. He grins broadly at Ping. Ping laughs a little, but the frown remains. I mean, do you have any aspirations beyond this? Well, we used to dream of becoming rich. Then we could lie in hammocks and drink and screw whores all day. But actually, boss, to be honest, I don't wish that anymore. We knew this man once. Crewed with him. He, found a box of jewels aboard an abandoned boat and sold them. He had more money then than he could ever spend. We had fun with him for a while. Booze and whores and good food, too. But later, after we had been gone a while, we heard they found him choked on his own puke in some whorehouse in Macau. That's what happens when you get what you want, I suppose. Ren trails off and looks back out at the empty sea with a philosophical smile. There's a moment of silence. Then Ping shakes his head suddenly and laughs. Ren is startled initially by the sound, but then begins to laugh at Ping's laughter. Down at either end of this ship, still sitting cross-legged, Dee and Tian simultaneously turn to look at them. There is no wind, but the air is suddenly ice cold. Ping and Ren stop laughing to look at each other for confirmation of the change. A huge shadow has fallen across the vessel. Ping looks up over Ren's head. Ren twists around on the stool. The languid sun has been totally obscured by a colossal black form. The creature is 10 feet from the junk, but it has emerged from the still waves in total silence. It easily measures more than 100 feet across, and it towers above the ship, taller than a 3-story building. It has a kind of human form. The stooped oval head transitions down into sloping shoulders that disappear below the surface. The body glistens black and wet, like dark fruit flesh or ebony caviar. The head is totally smooth and without features apart from 2 huge round eyes. The eyes are an identical color to the body, glistening huge and black, without sclera or pupil. The men are frozen, fixed in place by a new gravity, the plummeting sensation of horror forcing the air from their lungs. Dee and Tian hurtle up the ship toward them. Their small quiet is nothing before the vast silence of the creature. Dee and Tian reach Ren and sign to him frantically. His eyes are locked on the monster. Their motions are mere blurs at the sight of his vision. Ping whispers to Ren. Ren! Ren! What? As if he has not heard, Ren turns to his brothers. Dee! Tian! Slow! Ping whispers again. Ren! Ren, I have a rifle. In the hold. Ren speaks back to his brothers. What? Okay, that's good. It's okay. We'll be fine. It's fine, just like before. Crewman, can you hear me? Can you hear me, goddammit? What are they saying? What are they saying? The rifle... The bonds, Captain. They said, it's not here for us, it's... There is a colossal moaning sound. A huge rush of air blasts the ship, and everything tilts, as if the whole ocean has suddenly turned on its side. Ping feels his body leave the stool. For a brief moment he is weightless. The bodies of the other men are suspended in the air next to him. He looks upwards. For a moment that stretches on and on, his eyes meet those. Its sleek silhouette burns liquid black against the blue sky. Then sudden cold. Water. Darkness. Ping surfaces, his mind returning in a deluge of adrenaline. He is floating on top of a titan wave, a mountain of water, across the vast valley of ocean. On an opposite slope, he sees the teetering junk. The wet heads of two of the brothers swirl next to the vessel. 2 black sheep in a drowned pasture. As waves descend and avalanche and merge, the creature surfaces again. In the middle of the violence, it is a calm statue, a man standing in swimming pool water up to his waist. Ping's arms push uselessly against the rock-hard waves. Between choking submersions, he sees the man and the vessel and the creature in flashes. The mountains of water rise once more, sending the 2 bodies and the junk sailing through the air, this time towards the creature. The junk careens away to one side. The 2 sodden bodies crash into the torso of the beast. Ping watches as their tiny forms stick in its gelatinous flesh. Their mouths hang open. Their small green eyes glint as they are absorbed. They sink, slowly and completely, like stones dropped into a tar pit. The beast turns its head and stares directly at Ping. Its mind screams out to him. Again! The sound scrapes the inside of Ping's skull, and his eyes roll. Ping's mind floats in black dream. The gentle slosh of small waves slowly growing closer. He can feel the smooth wooden deck beneath him. His clothes are cool and damp. His skull pounds relentlessly. Slowly he opens his eyes. There is a pale gray fog. The water is calm. There is a small breeze. Overhead are boulder clouds, gray and massive. After minutes or maybe hours, he stumbles to his feet. The fog is light enough now that he can see the deck. The junk is in disarray, but still in one piece. He stumbles to his feet and rubs his temple. His body aches in a deep way that makes every step slow. He begins to attend to the ship. The masts, the sails are intact. His mind is dull and dizzy as he slowly pulls and adjusts. The junk is set in motion again. Ping leans against the front mast of the junk, head down, focused on his damp woven sandals. After some time he feels a warmth slowly begin to settle through his wet shirt into his shoulders, through the spiked fist of his graying hair into his scalp. The sad thoughts whispering at the edge of his mind are forgotten. He pushes back again from the mast and looks upwards. The white eye of the sun is open again.
Hello!
Hello,
We're two scared siblings.
I'm Andrea,
I'm Ren.
and we talk about all horror things. So.
Yeah, I said that really salesman corny.
Yeah.
I'm Ren.
And buy this car!
Why, hello there, folks. Come check out our horror podcast.
And there's a lot of this crap, too.
Yeah, there's a lot of this crap. We do this.
But everything horror, so true crime, ghost stories.
Like a lot of ghost story conspiracies, I don't know, gross diseases.
Everything.
Like actual fictional stories and like media critiques in the horror genre.
Anything that's
Everything
horrible.
horror.
So if you like horrible shit, come listen to us.
Yeah, and you can email us too. We do audience participation at twoscaredsiblings@gmail.com. So, like, you might be featured on an episode. So, yeah, all things horror. Check us out.
Bye.
We love you. Bye.
Mwah.
Hey folks, how's it going? My name is Augie, and I host a podcast called The Short Stories of Augie Peterson. Once upon a time, I had 2 blogs. Then one day, I started listening to podcasts. They seemed like a lot of fun and would combine the thing I was always afraid to share with the world, my writing, with the thing I had no choice but to share, my theater background. So I decided to combine them into a podcast for those millennials that don't have time to read 2 blogs. I read the original short horror stories I write every other Tuesday and review really terrible horror movies from Netflix, Redbox, Amazon Prime, and even the dollar store with massive amounts of snark every other Thursday. On the first Saturday of each month, I tell my listeners about 5 new indie artists that I have interviewed that I think they should know about. So if you like terrible horror movies, learning about new artists, really good horror stories, and total nerds, this is the podcast for you. Check out The Short Stories of Augie Peterson wherever you listen to podcasts. For more information, go to augiepeterson.wordpress.com. Toodaloo!
Had a drink about an hour ago, fell somewhere by the table, or maybe the floor.
Hey, we're the girls from the Despair and Distress podcast. We sit around drinking, talking about things that creep us out.
That is if we can get past our wildly inappropriate banter. We may not have our facts in order, but we sure have fun trying.
So if you're interested in hearing about things you wish you hadn't, then maybe swing by iTunes, Podbean, etc. and give your earbuds a nice little tickle with our podcast.
But be warned, if you came here for true facts, you're gonna be out of luck.
You can also find us on Twitter at beer_dis.
Or the Twitter.